Here are 3 things that can help Jack, one of my YouTube subscribers, improve his forehand. And by the way, if you would like me to help you with one of your strokes and possibly feature you in an upcoming YouTube video, just send me an email with one of your strokes, ryan@2minutetennis.net. Could be your serve, forehand, backhand, I don't care what it is. Send it to me and maybe I'll feature you in an upcoming side-by-side comparison. So obviously, we've got Dominic Thiem here, and again, this is Jack. So Jack, the very first thing I want you to notice with your forehand is watch how your racket drops. See this move, buddy? So your racket's up at a similar height to Dominic Thiem's, but watch your racket drop. See your racket go down and then it comes up. So let's just kind of draw the way your racket moves. I'm going to make it red, actually. So there's the tip of your racket, and then there's your racket, and then you go up. So you're following this line. Let me make it red. So you're going like this. That's the way your racket goes back. It goes down and then up again. Let's look at Dominic Thiem's. His racket stays up the whole time. So we'll draw a little circle here. We'll make it green. And then he goes right to there. So the racket goes out of the screen. But look at the way he takes his racket back. He doesn't go down first. You don't have time to follow the red line, my friend. When a ball comes in really fast, or you're trying to play better people who hit the ball deeper and harder with more spin and more penetrating shots into the court, you will not have the time to go down and then back up again. So we've got to eliminate that. You must learn to take the racket back without dipping it. So film yourself from the side and work on keeping the tip of the racket pointing up. Don't let the tip of the racket point, kind of off to the right of you and forward. You keep the tip of the racket pointing up as you take the racket back. The next idea is I want you to notice when Dominic Thiem's left hand goes forward. So notice his left hand goes back with the racket as the racket's going up, but look at his left hand. Look how it's reaching and it's already started coming forward, and it's part of the uncoiling process. So he's turning, is creating tension in the body, but now he's going to start moving this left hand forward, his non-hitting hand forward. Watch you on this forehand, and you did it forehand after forehand. Watch. At this point, Dominic Thiem's racket is above his head. So his racket is still above head level, and his left hand is visible in front of him. It's already started moving forward. I want you to notice in the same position, your racket is above head level, but look where your left hand is. Your left hand is behind. Your left hand should be out here. It should already be going forward, allowing you to uncoil. Watch how long it takes for your left hand to go in front. Like now we can see the left hand, and really you're not reaching forward, it's just tucking against the body. And what it means is you have a very late uncoiling of the body. Dominic Thiem is rotating his body to pull the arm through contact. You're swinging your arm. Dominic Thiem is pulling his arm by rotating his body. So I want you to work, and I'm going to show you this in front of the camera in a second, Jack. I want you to work on, as the racket begins dropping, moving that left hand out in front. And an easy way to think of it is wave to your opponent as the racket begins dropping. So have your non-hitting hand reaching out as the racket begins dropping. And the last thing, and this is really a hallmark of Dominic Thiem, especially when he's practicing, is, buddy, I want you catching and catching the racket with your left hand. Now, one thing to notice here is as he's striking the ball, look at the direction his left hand is moving. His left hand is moving up as he's striking the ball. His left hand is below contact, and now it's rising to above contact. Your left hand stays down when you're hitting. So as you're striking the ball, your left hand stayed in this place. I want your left hand rising as you're hitting. And one of the best ways to practice that is, yes, waving to your opponent, but also catching the racket over the shoulder. Let me actually look for one that's slightly better for this demonstration of catching the racket. I think here's a good one. Here's again, he's catching the racket in his left hand. It's what he does. I absolutely love this about his practice forehands. And Jack, you'll hear people say, and I'm sure they'll say it in the comments, but that's not how Dominic Thiem actually plays. You're right. And the way he practices is better than 99.99999% of amateurs in the world, including myself. So catching the racket over the shoulder makes for an incredible forehand, and it's something that will absolutely help you, Jack, in the future. Now, Jack, to help you practice this at home, I would highly recommend, if you don't already have one, to get a Topspin Pro. You can use my link in the description below. I'll also pin it in the first comment. So the first thing, Jack, you can't drop the racket down to then take the racket up. I mean, you can do it. You're currently doing it right now, but it's not going to allow you to play better players. So your forehand technique can only work against people who you're currently playing against, and the people worse than those people. If you play against someone who can hit the ball really hard and really fast, it will continue to push you back. Maybe you even notice, why do I always have to stand so far behind the baseline when I'm playing? It's because you're trying to buy time following that red line. So work on keeping the racket up. Think of it as like you're playing tennis in the shallow end of a pool, and maybe the water's at waist height. Don't dunk the water or the racket in the water, but keep the racket up as you go back. You'll be so much faster, especially against players who hit the ball hard. The next idea, your non-hitting hand. When you turn and coil with both hands on the racket, keeping the racket up, you then have to, as the racket begins dropping, separate your hands. You don't want your non-hitting hand to stay back as you swing because you didn't unwind the body. You want to unwind the body. Now the racket catches up as you're hitting the ball. What you're doing is swinging your arm. What you want to do is rotate the body. You rotate the body by waving to the opponent. And you want to be waving to the opponent or having the feeling like you're waving to the opponent as your racket begins dropping. Your non-hitting hand is just staying stuck, and it's why you're swinging into the ball with just your arm. In fact, I saw in between some of your shots, you were even demonstrating like, oh, I've got to unwind, I've got to turn my hips. It's because of your non-hitting hand. So take the racket back with both hands, but then wave to the opponent as the racket's dropping, and don't wave down here, like wave up here. If you look at Djokovic, his non-hitting hand at contact is at head level, where yours is down by your belly button. So both hands, wave to the opponent, and then I just want you to catch. The arguments I hear about why people shouldn't catch the racket when they're done, it's always, well, you don't see the pros doing it. Well, you do, but you see the pros doing it in practice. We don't swing as fast as the pros when they're playing matches. We simply do not swing as fast as they do. We swing our fastest swings the speed of the pros when the pros are practicing. And you'll watch the pros catch the racket. Felix Auger-Aliassime, Serena Williams, they catch the racket at that slightly slower speed, which is our fastest speed, all the time in practice. So please catch the racket when you're done and then back to the ready position. So keep it up, wave to the opponent, and catch when you're done. Now, Jack, and for everyone watching, if you're looking for players, new players in your local area, and Jack, this will help you find better players in your local area to use that new technique on the backswing against, use my link in the description at playyourcourt.com/2minute tennis. Find people to play against, find people to practice with, and even find a coach, Jack, who might be able to help you with your game and work on these ideas. Jack, I want to say thank you so much for trusting me. And if you're watching this and your name isn't Jack, or if you're a different Jack, send me a video, again, ryan@2minutetennis.net, and maybe I'll choose you and one of your shots, serve, backhand, forehand, overhead volley, whatever you would like some help on. Send it to my email and I might just pick you for an upcoming video. Jack, you work on these 3 simple forehand ideas and there is no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. Jack, you got this.